Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our Dexter Resurrection Season 1, Episode 7. I know that I'm sounding like a broken record, guys. I get it, but I just can't help myself. This episode was fire. This
Mhm.
whole season is fire. I love this show so much.
It is so good. I mean, the way that this ended, I knew that we were building towards Angel and Dexter and their showdown at some point, but I actually didn't expect it to be as early as this, where it was going to be very clear of like Dexter basically being like, if I'm who you say I am, then do you think that what you're doing is really a great idea? You're basically riding around with the Bay Harbor Butcher and you're alone in a car with me. And Angel's like, yeah, I'll take my chances. I'm like, oh my God, it's so well done.
It's really well done. It's reminiscent, of course, of some elements of the original show. It's also very reminiscent to me of Walt and Hank in Breaking Bad with the whole tread
Hmm.
lightly moment, where it's
Yes.
just this. You have this relationship with these characters, and you grow to, know and love them over time. It's like Dexter, yeah, he kills people, but a lot of us, we love him.
Yep.
Angel, we love him. We never want to see one of them really take out the other. And yet we're on this collision course that's inevitable because I think just Batista has this conscience where I don't think he's ever going to be able to look away from this, even if Dexter's taking out really, really bad people.
And my biggest worry is that Angel is going to get got by Dexter or Harrison. I kind of
Mhm.
wonder if it's going to be early tinfoil hat
Yeah.
Harrison that ends up taking out Angel to save his dad at some point. But my biggest, like, I guess beef, I'll put my beef hat on as
Yeah.
well, is why hasn't Angel told anybody what he is doing? Because if he just goes missing or shows up dead or whatever, the Quins and the Masukas are not going to know what happened and that there's anything that's going on with Dexter. I don't want to see a situation where he tells nobody and it just kind of disappears.
Well, we have a lot to say about that and a number of other odds and ends. Very important, really cool stuff in this episode. Before we get into any of it, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we have Dexter reviews, previews, theories. We have multiple videos a week all about this show. We love so much. We want you guys to be here and not miss out on any of those. And we want you to be a part of the discussion as well.
Absolutely. And we're also covering Alien Earth, and
Mhm.
Only Murders in the Building is coming up very, very soon. We'll have reviews for that here as well. So hit that subscribe button and stick with us,
Mhm.
or head over to our Patreon. I'll leave a link for you below. And over there, we're having more Dexter discussion. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys for the support. Like, we really, really appreciate that.
Okay, guys, comments. Do you think that Angel is going to get killed by Dexter or by Harrison? Or do you think he's actually going to make it out of this season alive?
I think he's gonna survive. I might be.
Yay! Me
I'm
too.
really.
I
We
do.
we didn't even talk about this going into the video, and I'm just like I'm so happy because I
Yeah.
just don't feel like this show is as exciting when you don't have that nostalgia in there, where you have somebody who has known Dexter for a really long time. Like, yeah, hypothetically, you could kill Batista, and then I don't know, somehow Quinn knows some stuff about the past. Like, he's not completely oblivious as to everything that's going on here, and like maybe Quinn could step in, but it's just Batista's an OG, man. Batista's been a part of everything with this franchise, and it's just I can't stand the idea of losing him yet.
No, I feel like tinfoil hat that
Yeah.
he is going to end up getting out of this season alive, that his biggest issue is going to continue to be the issue that he's facing right now, which is that he can't get any actual proof to take Dexter down. Like Harrison even kind of brought it up to him in the car and was like, is this a problem? And he's like, no, it's not actually a problem. I'm not worried about Angel. Angel doesn't actually have anything. And if he doesn't have anything, he can't do anything.
I think what Dexter's probably hoping for here is just this scenario where Batista doesn't have anything. He continues to badger the police up there, whether it's Claudette, whether it's someone else. And eventually this leads to this situation where maybe they tell him to go away. Maybe Dexter's able to get a restraining order at some point, or
Yep.
maybe just something has been able to happen where Batista kind of does have to regroup. And then maybe we finally see the show addressing the big criticism that you've already laid out, which is why Batista hasn't told other people about it. Like, I have struggled with this for a while just because it is really, really dangerous. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe he doesn't want to bother Quinn, or he doesn't want to like ruin the perception of Dexter and some other characters' heads. Maybe it feels like because of LaGuerta that this is his singular responsibility. But I just feel like at the very least, you've got people around you who know how to do their jobs really, really well. And it's somebody like Quinn, he has skin in the game too because of Deb.
Absolutely. But mostly for Angel, he knows that if he doesn't get Dexter, that Dexter gets him. And
Yeah.
that means that everything he's been trying to do for Maria, for Deb, for everybody, it all gets lost forever by not telling anyone. So my hope is that if they do decide to kill him off, he has left some sort of like notes, diary, something behind, a file for someone else to pick it up. Although, as much as I do like Quinn, I don't really want to watch a whole season of Quinn going after him. Like, I'm just not interested.
I would only be interested if it's Quinn and Batista. Like, I don't
Yes.
need Quinn to sort of be a singular adversary in that way. And that's also one of the reasons why I don't want Angel to be killed. Because,
Yeah.
like, what if Quinn then dies? And you're going to have what? Masuka ending up doing all of that? Nobody's going to buy into that.
Yeah, the whole of Miami Metro doesn't need to get killed off. What my hope is that we get to the end of the season. Angel just doesn't have anything. Like, we're at the point right now where he's dropped that little tracker
Yeah.
in the car with Dexter. Dexter's going to go off and do whatever, and Angel's going to be able to track him, and he's going to be led to a bigger problems. I mean,
Yeah.
there's Prater, there's Rapunzel, there's Dexter, there's Charlie. There's a lot of problems that are going on if he shows up at the killer convention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just feels like I'd like to see him get to the end of the season where he realizes he needs help. He can't get the information that he needs. Claudette kind of helping a little. She's at least entertaining it. But
Yeah.
now that she's seen Harrison at this university lecture and seen Dexter and saw him show up, I was like, oh, this is the same guy that Angel has been showing me in these pictures or whatever. Okay, maybe I will pay a little more attention to it. I mean, he's going to need some help to actually get real evidence.
He is, and there's not a lot of other ways that Dexter can sort of throw Batista off the scent at this point. Like, I know there have been a lot of questions of, okay, is there a way that they could come to an agreement? Like, could Dexter actually help Batista with something, and that gets Batista to lay off? And that's the answer.
Never.
I just like, even if Dexter saved his life, I don't think that would be enough to get Batista to stop doing it at this point.
Never because of Maria.
Yeah,
Never.
I will say though, I loved basically the AirPod drop at the end of all of this, because like, if there is the tiniest of problems I've had with this season, it is that Dexter has disposed of a lot of these other notorious killers pretty quickly and in pretty unceremonious fashion. Like, he needs to still be sloppy. Like, that's what we've always kind of liked about Dexter, is there's always been that huge risk factor.
Mhm.
And the idea that he thinks that he can have Batista in his car, that he can go Walter White on him, that he can drop Batista in the middle of the street, mind you, where he could be
Get out.
hit by a car at any given moment, that like Batista's not still going to have something up his sleeve. The guy has been in law enforcement for decades.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that he knows where Dexter's living now, showed up there, talked to Blessing. He's up there with Blessing's family,
Yeah.
listening to music. Dexter's like, oh my God, he's in my house. Like,
Yes.
he's with, my friends, this family that, I'm becoming friends with. Like, none of this is great.
Yeah.
He sees all this, but doesn't think that Angel has any more moves. I mean, he's worked with Angel a very
Yeah.
long time since he was an intern. He knows how good Angel is. So I don't know why he thinks that he can kind of get away with it. Maybe because he has gotten away with it for so long under Angel's nose. But Angel is right on top of him now. And when Angel's on you, Angel gets you.
Yeah, and it's a spot now where I don't necessarily think this is fully the case, but I believe that Angel believes that he has immersed himself so much in Dexter's life now, with Blessing, with Harrison, with Claudette, that if he just magically disappears, people are going to wonder or maybe suspect Dexter. But once again, there's the difference between suspecting something and actually being able to prove it. And I don't think that part of the groundwork has been laid yet.
No, and that's why, like, as smart as he is and as good of a detective as he is, he needs to tell somebody so that
Yes.
if he does go missing, yeah, he's got some people around, but it's not enough. He has to have somebody who's really in it with him, and it's not Claudette.
No. And so hopefully that's something we get to down the line
Yep.
here. But let's talk now, though, about the killer retreat, because this was the thing that was really hyped up a lot leading into this episode. And man, this was every bit as weird as I thought it was going to be.
It was so weird. And I mean, Al ended up being as much of a creep show as I thought. He's really like Bundy on a bike, where he's
Yep.
just like, here's my show and tell, where he's like, beep, beep, I'm coming down the left side, lady. Oh, okay, no problem. Oh my God, I've fallen over.
Yeah,
I've
I
hurt
know.
my leg. And it was so creepy to see that video where, because he's such a big guy, smothering her and giggling like that. He really did end up being the creepiest of them all for me.
The giggle was what freaked me out. And I mean,
Awful.
this is
Ugh.
full credit to Eric on this, because he didn't go full Joker. And I think it would have been easy to assume that you would just do like this maniacal laugh. But it was so creepy because there was just this childlike nature to the way that he was doing it. And like you said, he's a grown big guy. And
Yeah.
it's just very the opposite of who we think of when we think of a guy with this physicality. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was really, really disarming. And it's just a reminder like, okay, this guy is as sick and twisted, if not more so, than anyone else. And this is going to be a really hard guy for Dexter to take out, too, because everybody else keeps dropping like flies. There's a
Yeah.
reason for Rapunzel to be worried about him. But also, if we're just being like, who's going to win here in a fight, we have Dexter, who's still, in theory, recovering from a gunshot wound.
Hmm.
And then you've got Rapunzel, a very big, potentially strong dude who I just think is going to outmuscle him.
Yeah. I just don't know if everyone is going to actually end up dead. I mean, Mia is seemingly dead.
Yeah.
We do have a theory up here at the channel. Is she really dead or not? Who knows,
Yeah.
right? We think she's dead, but
Probably.
you know, she could not. You never know with TV. I mean, we've said they've brought all kinds of people back from the dead. Where we're looking at Dexter right now.
I
He
know.
was dead, dead, dead. No, he's not, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we've lost the tattoo collector, also dead. Now, both of the Gemini killers, they're both dead. So all we have is Al. And I feel like at this point, it would be more interesting to see him actually get away and just get back to his family.
Maybe he is the one future big bad that was hyped up in all the preseason interviews when they lied to us and made us think that all these characters could be around a really long time.
I know, maybe not. Maybe he's going to get God as well, and he'll just be left with Prater. And Prater's the most interesting to me, not just because it's Peter Dinklage. I
Yeah.
love him, but because allegedly, from the stories that he's told, and the story we'll get into that he's now opened up to Dexter about. Dexter did his show and tell as Red and was very, very vulnerable, and now Prater's been very vulnerable. He hasn't killed anybody, so he
Mhm.
doesn't actually fit the code in the way that Harry has made the code fit, if that makes sense. And I know Dexter's taken some liberties with it over time, and he may here as well,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really fit the code. He hasn't killed anybody.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Prater is that he's just here as a way to empower these people to do these really bad
Right.
things. So, I mean, he is causing more bad to happen. And in that sense, you can argue, okay, he needs to be taken out. But it's all complicated because as we learned further in this episode, like so much of his darkness is sort of just born out of what happened to his parents and then the relationship that he formed with the person responsible. And that lack of remorse, that his whole view of the world was just corrupted at this really, really young age. And if all this didn't happen, maybe he would not have ended up like this. It's just like he sunk himself into this as a way to sort of not deal with his grief, but to just sort of take away from the rest of the world around him.
That story that he told just drive the truck of Emmys up to Peter's house. Like, it was so
Yeah.
well done and so powerful. This story of like, yeah, you know, this guy crashed into us on purpose. He had had a fight with his girlfriend. He was looking to go out and cause some damage.
Yeah.
Saw my family, accelerated, killed my parents, looked me in my eye, and we both just had this connection of just being lost sort of monsters in the city. And I started writing him letters. He wrote me back. I went to see him. I was able to get the guy who killed my parents to open up to me about the fact that he had killed before and that I had been able to kind of build that trust to puppet him in a way that he would tell me things that he would never tell anybody else.
Yeah.
Now I have this group of killers that I am puppeting to be like, give me your show and tell. I want this. You do this for me. Dance puppets dance. And they're doing it. Like, it was incredible performance by Peter. I mean, he's had a lot in his lifetime,
Yeah.
but that really was just iconic.
Like there were so many good monologues in this episode, and Peter like totally delivered this. And I think what makes it all the more interesting is I think we can completely roll out him being the New York Ripper right now, and we will
I
talk.
don't think so.
I feel in my bones that he is not. I could be really wrong. I get egg on my face.
That voice doesn't sound like him, and it doesn't sound like whoever is, because we know from the whole Harrison thing and Claudette being like, oh, the person I'm chasing is New York Ripper. Yeah, he's not active anymore, but he is leaving these voice messages for people. And I heard the voice and I'm like, okay, this is not a woman, it is a guy, but it's not Peter. Like, and they're not using a voice disguiser.
Yeah, it feels like, yeah, it's not Peter. And it also just feels like we don't need it to be Peter because I think Leon's story is interesting enough as it is at this point, because it's the other part of this that makes it so complicated, especially with Dexter and the code, is that when we look at people, whether it be Miguel Prado or Lila or some other people Dexter has encountered in the past who he had some sort of connection with, they were still killing. And so it was like, wow, he wanted to be able to relate to them or even be friends with them in some instances. It was like the fact that they were doing what they were doing makes it impossible.
Yeah.
Here is somebody who he can be himself around, who he can, you know, provided that Prater ever actually knew the truth about him, but he actually can sort of open up about his true self. And at the same time, Leon's not killing, so he doesn't have to kill him in that way. I just wonder if you're Dexter, at what point is that going to be really tantalizing where you can't really relate to your son in the way in which you expected? Here's somebody, though, who does actually accept the full version of you and is not off killing people and definitely innocent people himself.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't exactly fit the code, but at the same point, he is puppeting other killers to continue to kill. So I feel like Dexter's going to find a way around his code to get to him because he's helping to facilitate paying killers to continue to kill. He's a problem, and he does have to go.
All right, now let's get to another really great monologue. David Desmalchin, your guy. The conversation
I can't
here.
believe he's off the show.
I know.
Kills me. I love David. He's so good.
He was so good in this role. And by the way, Scott Reynolds even posted this on Twitter. Both Gareths, that's their name. It is.
I know, Gareth too.
Like Garrett's parents here really dropped the ball with it. You guys don't even get separate names. But yeah, losing both Gareths, it is really sad, but especially the way in which this happens, where I think we were both really curious going into this. It's like, okay, does Gareth 2 know what happened to Gareth 1? Is he setting up for a revenge mission? And not so much, but to see Dexter like slowly unpeel this guy and then just sort of put the reverse Uno card on him and be like, now I'm going to kill you as well. Like, man.
Yeah, he really disarmed him by being like, I see you. I see what you and your brother did. What you guys did is remarkable. Like, Prater doesn't know. Nobody knows. I know. I'm not telling your secret. Like, you know, it's something that I really admire. Of course, he's going into the ego of these two. And, you know, how would you have ever been able to do something like this? Like, oh, we just, you know, he got him to really open up and be like, man, it feels good to tell somebody. Like, we've never really been able to talk about it. Now I'm talking about it. Oh, yeah. Do you guys feel pain the same? Because I killed your brother. I was like, oh my God.
It went from 0 to 60 really fast. And I was sitting here wondering, okay, how is Dexter going to be able to do this? Because there's people around, they're going to see it. But, you know, he explained that as well. It's like, okay, you know, public killing's not really his forte, but he has to do something to make it look like Gareth is after him first. What better way to rile up somebody than be like, I killed your twin brother?
And that's where I think tinfoil hat Charlie's really going to come in here because Prater, he's just such a fanboy. He's not paying attention to anything. I think Dexter at this point could come up and be like, you know what? I'm not really Red. I'm really the Bay Harbor Butcher. And he'd be like, welcome. Like, it's not going to matter at that point
Yeah.
for him. But Charlie, she is the person who has been trying to point things out to Leon for a while now of things that, security issues or things that aren't right, including this, where she's just like, this killing doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
why would Gareth all of a sudden do something like this? He kills very specifically
Yeah.
in pairs. He has never broken from his MO, and now all of a sudden he's attacking Red for why?
It feels like we are in a situation now where we are going to see something happen to Dexter where maybe Charlie starts following him around and ends up whether it's taking him or taking Harrison. Because I do sort of wonder if there's another way where Batista can get a leg up on Dexter somehow, where Dexter or Harrison is in some peril and Batista actually swoops in and helps, not because he wants to see Dexter alive, but it's just like there's a specific ending that he feels like Dexter deserves at this point, which is justice. And, seeing Charlie or somebody else kill Red, like that's not the
Mhm.
justice he's looking for.
No.
But I think Charlie is the big cog in this at this point
Yes.
because she's smart. Like she's able to see and understand this stuff. Okay, let's get a little bit more into the Harrison story because I feel like this is something that a lot of us wondered if this would be the case at this point. Harrison's been looking for answers, looking for a way to kind of fill his soul. And I think he feels like law enforcement could be that thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense because the whole family's been in law enforcement. So it's not a shock then that he's going to be like, you know what? I'd like to be able to help and have justice for a lot of these things. I feel helpless. I see Elsa's landlord coming down on her. I feel like I can't do anything except
Hmm.
have this urge to kill him. And that's not the way to go about it. I feel guilt. I feel bad after that. I'd like to find another way.
And with that, we must turn now to Gigi, who is the worst character on Dexter Resurrection so far through 7
Oh, really?
episodes.
Yeah, she's
She
just a whatever.
she's a whatever. It's just like, how are you this thirsty already? This has been a very brief amount of time. We've barely seen you two talk. Okay, yeah, like I don't get the Gigi thing. I don't understand the Gigi thing. Maybe it'll make more sense. I think just clearly they needed somebody to bring him into the college. I get that. Didn't have to be a love interest. But anyway, I think the big selling point of this whole storyline is seeing Claudette there give this lecture and we finally get like some real legitimate information about this New York Ripper that we referenced a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we have a theory video up about that of could it be somebody that we've actually seen this season, but I think we both are on the page that it's not somebody that we've seen this season and that it might be setting up for who will be next season and that will be the big person that Dexter's going to be after is this New York Ripper that while maybe they're not active anymore,
Mhm.
they are still actively like calling family members and describing these horrible things that they've done and maybe they'll become active again.
Yeah, they could very well. Like I've seen people out there be like, "Oh, maybe this is Jonah Mitchell and maybe this is where we're going because of season 6." And it's just like after thinking about all that, I felt like that story had closure way back when, but beyond all that, they really made in this episode me feel like this New York Ripper is probably, I don't want to say contemporary of Dexter's, but somebody who's probably around the same point in their life or they did all of this and now they're shifting into something else. Like that's not typically something that happens if you're a person in your 20s or even your 30s for a good point. This kind of feels like, I don't want to call it a midlife crisis because we're talking about a killer here, but somebody who has had a significant change of mind when it comes to how they want to handle their business.
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me that it is someone that is more seasoned. They've been doing this a very long time. They are kind of moving into retirement for whatever reason. Like the fact that they're still reaching out to people and being like, this is what I did and this is how I did it, kind of tinfoil hat to
Mm,
me feels like maybe they got some sort of an injury or an illness or something
mhm.
has happened to them that they're unable to keep killing people and that's why they stopped.
Yeah, all of this ultimately to me just feels like they're dropping things for season 2, or maybe this is somebody we'll see in the finale, and then that'll
Mm.
sort of jump things forward. Because in reality, here, and I hate to say this, we don't have that much time left this season. It's only a few episodes. We kind of just have to deal with the characters who are like here right in front of us for now.
Yeah, and I do think that this whole lecture thing where Claudette finally saw Dexter and they had that little bit of a back and forth. I mean, along with the fact that it's come back that Mia's prints were all over all her trophies, but not
Yeah.
that watch. Like, there are some things that I know Claudette is really kind of going around with Harrison, but now that she's met Dexter and kind of seen both of them together, and uh, I think it's all really coming back in a way that she is maybe going to start looking into Dexter in the way that Angel wants her to.
Yeah, and I think the show needs that because if you're not bringing on Quinn, like Batista needs somebody else. And it makes sense then that Claudette can be that other person. The problem here, of course, is just there's not a lot of ways to connect the two of them to that watch other than what Harrison tried to do before Dexter stepped in and decided we're going to frame Lady Vengeance for this instead.
Right.
But is that enough? Like, is that enough to really go after everything? Because I think what makes it even messier, and I don't even think Harrison did this intentionally, but the idea that like he's actively trying to join law enforcement, I think if you put someone like that in front of a jury, it's gonna be like, why would somebody who killed someone actually then want to go and try to stop other killers? It's just something that from a logical standpoint, it just doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And I know that Harrison's not really looking at it that way to be like, it'd be a great alibi. I'll be a cop. But
Yeah.
that was something that was a little more on Dexter's mind when he started interning, where it was like, okay, maybe I can have some focus into these other things where, yeah, I'll be in blood splatter. Maybe that's something that will take a bit of the edge off. Okay, it doesn't. Great. Then I'll just use this to cover up my crimes.
So there's a couple other little odds and ends here worth mentioning with this episode. I love the emphasis on Brian Moser that came out at one
Hmm.
point in the discussion with the Gemini Killer. They have
Yeah.
continued to just do a really great job of sprinkling in all these little things for all of us longtime fans, especially the seasons that Clyde Phillips was obviously around for.
Well, I mean, Brian Moser's such an important character in Dexter's life. This is his brother who
Yeah.
was also a killer, but they just had the different codes basically. And that's it, all just went sideways because of that. And of course, Deb in the mix of it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's becoming increasingly clear to me is that with Harrison deciding to join this program and potentially be in the police, there have been a lot of theories out there like, okay, is this show just temporarily going to be in New York, that we're going to move to Miami and eventually we're going to end where it all started? Like, that could still happen. But from everything we're seeing, especially now that we have, Batista around Blessing, Harrison's been around Blessing, Harrison's
Yeah.
been in school, like, they really does feel like they are laying down a lot of roots here, that this is where the show is going to be for a little while. And if you're Dexter, this is somebody who conceivably, we don't know the entire timeline between, the end of the original show and start a New Blood, was moving all over the place. Like, he's going to have to confront now this idea of, oh, I actually kind of have to stay in a place for a little while. Am I really even equipped to do that anymore?
Yeah, and I'd like to see him have roots here. I know that there's a lot of us out there that miss Miami and the
Yeah,
feel of
of
that and
course.
him being there. But there's nothing really left there for him. His dad's gone, his family's gone, Deb is gone. He's not working for Miami Metro anymore.
Yeah.
Angel is there. He doesn't want to be around that. There's no real reason to bring him back there.
No, there's not. I'm glad that we're just kind of focusing in on here for now. And I'm also just glad that we're just building and building and building momentum. Like, if there's any fear I have, it's just that are we going to get enough of Peter so that the final showdown, potentially with Prater and Dexter, is going to really hit? Because we've had a large cast. I mean, maybe Dinklage hasn't had the airtime that some may have hoped. But yeah, that's where we are coming out of Dexter Resurrection, Season 1, Episode 7. What did you guys think about everything we saw here? Do you guys really think that Batista is going to take him out, or is Dexter going to take him out? Like, let us know. Hit that subscribe button. And yeah, if you want to support us further, join our Patreon. That link is in the description. We are covering Countdown exclusively
Mhm.
in video form, and we will see you here next time.